You sure this ain't live? Cause I'm tired of pretending LeBron isn't an evil man.
This might just be the wildest NBA leak in years. A clip from a live stream that was never meant to see the light of day somehow got out, and it's pure chaos. Kyrie Irving thought he had ended his stream, but he was still live, and what came next shook the entire league to its core. Out of nowhere, Kyrie looks into the camera and says, "You sure this ain't live? 'Cause I'm tired of pretending LeBron isn't an evil man." Yeah, he really said that. Fans couldn't believe it, and that's not even the craziest part. Wait until you hear what came after. Kyrie went off, exposing all kinds of behind-the-scenes drama from LeBron's second run with the Cavs. He spilled on power plays, locker room tension, trade secrets, and how that so-called brotherhood wasn't what it looked like on camera. Everything people thought they knew about LeBron and Kyrie's relationship straight up shattered. Once you see the full clip, you'll realize the truth about what was really going down during that wild Cavs era. The second that leaked footage hit social media, the NBA world exploded. Fans went into total panic mode.
Because that question was crazy. When somebody asked me if LeBron was like a father figure to me, bro, that was crazy, bro. No kizzy. That was a crazy ass question. He's like a few years older than me.
Timelines flooded, group chats blowing up, and everyone trying to figure out if this was real or some deepfake madness. The whole thing left fans speechless, like they were seeing a whole new side of NBA history unfold right in front of their eyes. Anyone who was paying attention to the Cavs back in 2017 could feel that tension boiling, especially after Kyrie dropped that bomb in July, demanding a trade out of Cleveland. 8 years later, he's finally said what fans had whispered about for years, that the LeBron era didn't just feel tough, it felt manipulative and controlling. And once he confirmed it, the internet lost it. People instantly started digging through old footage, pulling up every clip where Kyrie looked annoyed at pressers or sitting on the bench with that "I'm so done" face. Then came that awkward locker room moment. Don't, none of us get a pass tonight. That hit different after the leak. But what really sent people spinning was that infamous father figure question. Someone once asked Kyrie if LeBron was like a dad to him, and his response? Iconic. He laughed and said, "Bro, that was crazy, bro, no kidsy. That was a crazy question. He's like a few years older than me." That moment aged like gold after this leak. Fans started rewatching everything, old interviews, bench reactions, even practice clips, and suddenly all those awkward glances and tight smiles made perfect sense. By the time Twitter finished dissecting every frame, one truth stood tall. Kyrie was never just a background character in LeBron's story. He had his own narrative, and it's finally being told loud and clear. Kyrie had always been a star, long before the LeBron trauma ever started. People forget that, especially the die-hard LeBron fans who act like Kyrie didn't carry that 2016 finals. Let's be real, he was the one who hit that legendary three-pointer in Game 7 against the Warriors, the very shot that sealed LeBron's third ring. Without that clutch moment, history might have looked a whole lot different. And let's stop pretending Kyrie wasn't matching LeBron's energy during that playoff run. He was right there, putting up numbers, making plays, and keeping the Cavs alive when things got tough. There's even that wild story floating around. LeBron was gassed, standing in the corner like, "Here, Kyrie, I'm gonna go sit this one out. Do it for me." And guess what? Kyrie did. He delivered that shot like ice in his veins, proving he wasn't just his sidekick. He was the guy who could carry the team. To really understand why this whole fallout hit so deep, you gotta rewind back to 2011, Kyrie's first steps onto that Cleveland court.
This whole celebrity idea is eroding. The whole fame idea is eroding. That's sold to us, y'all. You got people out here that are human, that are acting every day of their life. They're not even real.
Before LeBron's homecoming, before all the trades and front office chaos, Kyrie was the franchise. He was the golden child, the one fans adored, the player teammates respected, the young star building something real in Cleveland. He wasn't chasing super teams or trying to control the narrative like others. Kyrie moved different. Even now, he talks about how this whole celebrity idea is eroding. The whole fame thing they sold to us is fading. That right there shows how he's always seen beyond the hype. Kyrie's always talked about how you got people out here that are human, that are acting every day of their life. They're not even real. And that's exactly what set him apart. He wasn't trying to play a character or chase fake hype. He was a pure hooper, grinding in silence, sharpening his craft, and building his name from the ground up without all that noise. When the Cleveland Cavaliers drafted him first overall in June 2011, the city exploded with excitement. After that short but flashy stint at Duke, fans already knew he was special. But once he hit the NBA floor, it was clear Kyrie could ball. From his first season, he made defenders look silly with that insane handle and fearless energy. As a rookie, he averaged 18.5 points, 5.4 assists, and 3.7 rebounds, while shooting nearly 47% from the field and 39.9% from deep. Crazy efficient numbers for a first-year player. Those stats didn't just look good, they screamed future superstar. No shocker, he walked away with the 2012 Rookie of the Year trophy, snatching 117 out of 121 first-place votes. That's domination. And it didn't stop there. Between 2012 and 2014, Kyrie just kept leveling up. One season he's averaging 22.5, the next he's dropping over 20 again. Steady improvement, pure consistency. By 2014, nobody was calling him a rookie anymore, they were calling him an all-star. That year's All-Star game, he went off. 31 points, 14 assists in the MVP trophy to seal the night. Through those years, Kyrie proved he wasn't just another young talent, he was the rising star that Cleveland had been waiting for. Kyrie wasn't out here putting on a show for cameras or chasing headlines, he kept it real. No constant complaining to the refs, no leaks to stir drama, no fake super team moves to boost his image. He was just quietly grinding, locked in, and letting his game do all the topping. Reports from his high school and early career painted the same picture. Kyrie was humble, private, and focused. He didn't need all that flash to prove his worth, just pure basketball energy. Before he ever stepped on an NBA court, his father made sure he understood the grind. His father told him, "You got a Bentley engine. If you don't go, the team doesn't go." That line hit deep, and it stuck with him for life. It became his mindset. If he didn't bring the fire, nobody else would. Kyrie carried that mentality everywhere. Work hard, stay low-key, and grow in silence. To the Cavaliers, he was the guy, the foundation, the one they could build around. He wasn't chasing fame or trying to manipulate the spotlight. That's exactly why Cleveland fell in love with him. No ego battles, no hunger for attention, just a kid with unreal handles, a fearless heart, and a dream that was starting to turn real. By the time 2014 rolled around, Kyrie had earned every ounce of his respect. He had paid his dues, and everyone knew it. By 2014, Kyrie wasn't the rookie kid anymore. He was the man, a respected all-star, the face of the franchise, and the heartbeat of Cleveland basketball. The city adored him, the team revolved around him, and for a moment, everything felt solid, like this was his era. But that's exactly when everything flipped upside down. Just as Kyrie was cementing his legacy and writing his own story, 2014 hit, and boom, out of nowhere, LeBron James announced he was coming back to Cleveland after 4 years of chasing rings and spotlight super teams. No warning, no heads up, just straight headlines hitting the internet like a bombshell. The minute that contract got signed, the whole Cleveland universe tilted off its axis. And here's the wild part. Kyrie didn't even get a call. He found out like everyone else, scrolling through his phone. Later, he said, "I had no idea, man. I found out that bro was coming back like the rest of you guys in the world. I had no inclination. I had no prep time to prepare. It's not that it was on my bingo card like, hey, I'm gonna spend my career playing with LeBron. Like, I had no idea, guys." That's raw honesty right there. Imagine putting in all that work, building the team from scratch, leading the charge, earning your spot, and suddenly, overnight, the franchise you built isn't yours anymore. The crown you'd been polishing got handed to someone else, and all you could do was watch it happen in real time. From that moment on, everything inside the Cavs locker room felt different. What used to be Kyrie's team was suddenly LeBron's empire overnight. The cameras followed LeBron everywhere. The headlines were all about the King's return. And Kyrie, he became the quiet shadow, still hooping hard, but now moving in someone else's spotlight. You could feel that tension every time they shared the court. It wasn't hate, but it definitely wasn't harmony either. Behind the scenes, things were shifting fast. Coaches, execs, and players all started orbiting around LeBron like planets around the sun. Meetings, plays, even team chemistry all got rearranged. Kyrie had spent years building his foundation in Cleveland, and now he had to adjust to a whole new system built around someone else's control. To the outside world, it looked like a dream duo, but inside, there were cracks forming every day. And fans noticed. Whenever Kyrie looked distant during pressers or gave short answers, people could sense something was off. He wasn't just playing ball anymore, he was surviving in a new hierarchy. LeBron had the power, the voice, and the final say in almost everything. Kyrie, who had always valued independence, was now stuck trying to find his own lane under a massive spotlight he never asked for. Still, he kept showing up, dropping buckets and playing his heart out, but you could tell something deep down had shifted. The Cavs were winning, sure, but for Kyrie, it didn't feel like his win anymore. It was the start of a power struggle that would soon shake the whole league. At first, Kyrie tried to roll with it. He stayed professional, smiled for the cameras, and acted like everything was smooth. But behind that calm face, things were getting tense. He'd go from being the team's leader to feeling like a supporting actor overnight, and that hit hard. He had built this identity, this rhythm, and suddenly the plays, the spotlight, and even the locker room energy all revolved around LeBron again. The chemistry on the court? It looked electric to fans, but inside it was way more complicated. Every big win came with headlines about LeBron's greatness, while Kyrie's clutch shots were treated like footnotes. You could see it in his interviews, short answers, tight smiles, a quiet frustration that said it all. He wasn't trying to start drama, but you can only hold back so much when your shine keeps getting dimmed. And then came the whispers. Reporters started talking about tension, small arguments, and awkward energy in practice. The team kept denying it, but fans could tell something was off. Kyrie had always been about respect and teamwork, but being constantly overshadowed by LeBron's media storm was draining him. It wasn't jealousy, it was about identity, about wanting to be recognized for his own game, not just as someone else's sidekick. Still, he kept putting up numbers, kept locking in when it mattered, but deep down he knew the balance was off. What started as a reunion for Cleveland had turned into an unspoken power struggle, and everyone around them could feel the cracks getting wider every game. By the time the 2016 season rolled around, that tension was impossible to ignore. The Cavs were winning, sure, but the energy behind those smiles felt forced. Kyrie and LeBron had chemistry on the court, but off it, things were icy. The cameras caught moments that told the story, side-eye looks during huddles, clipped handshakes after wins, and long silences in post-game interviews. It wasn't open beef, but everyone could sense that something was boiling underneath. Then came the finals, the Warriors, the 73-9 season, the pressure, the chaos, and somehow Kyrie still delivered one of the most legendary shots in NBA history. That clutch three in Game 7, pure magic. It sealed the championship, brought Cleveland its first ever ring, and instantly became a part of sports history. Yet even then, the spotlight went straight back to LeBron. The media praised his block, his leadership, his redemption arc, while Kyrie's heroics got buried under LeBron's legacy once again. You could see the cracks deepening after that. Kyrie had every reason to feel proud, but he started realizing that no matter what he did, the narrative would never truly be his. The talk shows, the headlines, even the fans, everyone framed it as LeBron's championship. That had to sting, because if you watched that series closely, you knew it took both of them to make history. From that point forward, the vibe in Cleveland changed for good. The smiles faded, the laughter quieted, and what had once been a partnership started feeling more like a tug of war for respect. After that legendary 2016 run, everything looked perfect on the outside. Cleveland finally had a title, the city was celebrating, and LeBron and Kyrie were supposed to be unstoppable. But behind the scenes, that victory only made the cracks wider. Every interview, every highlight reel, it was all about the King's return, while Kyrie's clutch moments barely got a mention. And that started to eat at him. He had done the impossible, hit the shot that sealed Cleveland's championship forever, but somehow he was still being treated like a supporting act. Even in team meetings, Kyrie reportedly felt like his input didn't matter anymore. Plays were being changed, calls were being made, and decisions were happening without his voice in the room. It wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about control, respect, and identity. People close to the team started noticing his mood shift. The same guy who used to light up the locker room was now quieter, more distant, just going through the motions. You could tell he was battling something deeper than frustration. It was the feeling of being boxed in by someone else's legacy. By 2017, things were reaching a breaking point. Kyrie didn't want to play second fiddle forever, and it was clear that as long as LeBron ran the show, he'd never truly get the credit he deserved. The tension that started as silence was now turning into a storm, and Cleveland had no idea what was coming next. By the summer of 2017, that quiet storm finally exploded. Kyrie Irving had reached his limit and decided it was time to take control of his own story. Out of nowhere, reports dropped. Kyrie Irving had officially requested a trade from the Cleveland Cavaliers. The news hit the NBA like an earthquake. Fans couldn't believe it, analysts were stunned, and social media went wild. How could the man who just helped deliver a championship want out? But to Kyrie, it made perfect sense. He was tired of living in LeBron's shadow, tired of every win being credited to someone else. He wanted independence, to lead, to grow, and to finally have a team where his voice mattered. When the story broke, people close to him said he'd been feeling trapped for months. He didn't want another season of being labeled LeBron's sidekick. He wanted to be the one running the show. And that decision sent shockwaves through the league. Every sports show, every podcast, every fan base was in full debate mode. Some called him ungrateful, others called him brave, but everyone agreed on one thing. Kyrie's move changed everything. Cleveland fans were heartbroken. LeBron's camp was blindsided, and the media couldn't get enough of the drama. The so-called Cavs dynasty that looked unshakable had started to crumble overnight. Kyrie's trade request didn't just break up a duo, it split the NBA's most watched partnership wide open, leaving everyone wondering what really went down behind closed doors. Once Kyrie's trade request went public, there was no going back. The front office tried to smooth things over, but the trust was already gone. A few weeks later, the unthinkable happened. Kyrie Irving was traded to the Boston Celtics. Just like that, one of the most electric duos in NBA history was finished. The headlines exploded, fans argued for weeks, and the basketball world split right down the middle. Some said Kyrie betrayed Cleveland, others said he finally stood up for himself. But no matter where you stood, one thing was clear. This was the end of an era. The brotherhood that once looked unbreakable was nothing but smoke and mirrors. Behind those smiles and handshakes were power plays, ego clashes, and unspoken tension that had finally boiled over. After the trade, both stars went their separate ways. LeBron chasing more rings, Kyrie chasing his freedom. But even years later, fans still debate who was right, who was wrong, and what really happened behind those locker room doors. That 2014 to 2017 stretch wasn't just about basketball. It was a story about control, loyalty, and how fame can twist even the tightest bond. And now, with leaks and old clips resurfacing, the truth is finally starting to show itself. What looked like a dream partnership might have been built on cracks from the start. So what do you think? Was Kyrie justified in walking away, or should he have stayed to run it back? Drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, share, and comment if you enjoyed the breakdown. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more wild NBA stories that the league doesn't want you to see.